Alright guys, today we got a 2013 Hyundai Elantra. We're going to be doing front brake pads and rotors, an outer tie rod on the driver's side, and we're also going to be putting rear pads and rotors on here as well. Let's get started. Alright, so how to know if you have a bad tie rod? Get your car jacked up, and what you're going to do is just grab your wheel. If you can move it in and out like that, that's play in, you know, one of your steering joints, whether it's your inner tie rod or your outer tie rod, or maybe you got play in a ball joint. In this case, it's the outer tie rod. So we're gonna get that replaced, and we're gonna do pads and rotors on the front while we're in here. Go ahead and get the wheel removed. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to get on the outer tie rod here. Go ahead and get this cotter pin out. Get it out the way. Then what we'll need is a 17mm socket. Take that loose. Before we do that, if we look back on the inside here on this jam nut, okay, I want to get that cracked loose first. Alright, so go ahead and get you a 24mm wrench and get that on there, and we'll go ahead and knock this free. Alright, so once you got it loose, just you got to, back it off very far. Just get it separated from the tie rod. And we'll go ahead and remove this nut on the outer tie rod. Alright, once you got that nut removed, we're just going to go ahead and use a hammer and tap on this knuckle right here. Get this tie rod to come free. Alright. And you can see it's out of the knuckle. Last thing we're going to have to do is get this to spin off of the inner tie rod. So what I like to do, I like to get a pair of vice grips and hold onto the inner tie rod. And if we have to, we'll use a tool to get it off. So I put the vice grips on the inner tie rod right there to hold it still, and then use this tie rod remover socket. You just put it on the end of an impact, and you can spin this right off. So just like that. We'll go ahead and slip that on here. And then with the tool, you can see that makes pretty quick work of it. All right. While we're waiting on our new parts to get here, we'll go ahead and start disassembling the brakes. We will need a 14mm Alright, so we use a 14mm on the caliper bolts. Go ahead and set these off to the side. Put this caliper up here. Next, we'll go ahead and remove the two 17mm bolts that hold on the caliper bracket. All right, go ahead and take the bracket off. And then the last thing we'll need to do here, we'll need to get these Phillips screws out of the rotor. And to do that, we use a impact driver. Alright, so here you'll see we got our impact driver and a Phillips head bit. Alright, now let's go ahead and get the rotor off, and we'll go ahead and get this piston pushed back into the caliper and get this all cleaned up while we're waiting on our parts to get here. Get your new hardware installed. Already got the guide pins here freed up. We'll get those lubed up here in just a second. Go ahead and get the rotor back on, the new rotor on. Go ahead and get your bracket bolts back in. Two hands. All right, there we go. Get dirt on there cleaned up. So we can get your guide pins here. Get all the old grease cleaned up off of them. Then once you do that, just use some new brake grease. Grab our 14mm bolts, put those back in, and get that tightened down. then let's see here. Alright, and then your final product should look something just like that. Alright, now we'll move back onto the outer tie rod reassembly. Alright, we'll go ahead and get our new tie rod here that we got. You can see you want to match it up, make sure it is the same. They are different from side to side here. We'll go ahead and start threading this back onto the inner tie rod. You just want to put it all the way on and then just back it up just a little bit here to get this back into the knuckle. And that'll keep your alignment pretty close, so you can get it, get an alignment done on there, which you're going to want to do for sure after replacing that. Then we'll grab our 17mm. We'll get this tightened down. And then once you've gotten that part tightened down, we'll go ahead and stick the new cotter pin in. And we'll just bend it out of the way here. Alright, just like so. Last thing we're going to do is go ahead and tighten up that jam nut that we broke free. I'm going to take our vice grips off. Alright, once that's tightened up, that's it. You're ready to throw the wheel back on. Alright, so if you're replacing your outer tie rod or your front brake pads and rotors on a 2013 Hyundai Elantra, the procedure is exactly the same for both sides. The only difference will be the tie rods have different parts for the driver's side to the passenger side. Other than that, thanks for watching.